Most figure drawing artists think that in order to get better at drawing, they should study anatomy more or get better at proportion or perspective. The truth is, that applies to people who are already skilled at drawing. For beginners and for self-taught artists, focusing on those things first might actually hold you back from unlocking your unique voice as an artist. Now, when I started drawing, I really struggled for years to get good at drawing until one day I had a breakthrough. And I realized that I needed to get good at the process. In this video, I want to share a way that you can unlock your own process for figure drawing. And I want to tell you how you can start to focus on that today to change your drawing forever. My name's Siobhan and I teach life drawing, and I post videos here on YouTube about a dynamic and expressive approach to drawing the figure. I also write about figure drawing every week over on Substack, and I'd love you to join my newsletter, so I've left a link for you in the description below. Now, I used to practice drawing Bridgman and my drawings were very bad. They were just flat and lifeless. But once I got used to drawing in a much more confident, much more loose and expressive way, that's when my drawing improved overall. If you've got good line quality, then conceptualizing the figure into blocks or drawing cubes and ovals makes for a strong drawing, not because the stylization is on point, but because the underlying drawing skills are solid. You can improve your figure drawing not by drawing cubes and ovals, but by developing or exploring dynamic and expressive lines and marks. Now, drawing loose helps you to access a more creative mode of thinking, and it also helps you to let go of the need to make very tight and correct, accurate designs. Plus, it opens up a world of expression because your lines and marks are unique to you. This becomes your drawing language. So once you get confident in making lines and marks, your drawing will change completely. So here are 4 points that I can suggest will help you to get more loose and more expressive in your drawing today. Starting out, when you use a line of action, that's really helpful to get the overall sense of the pose down on the page and to draw the full length of the figure in one go. But once you've got that down, make sure to keep going with that for a little bit longer. Try to identify smaller lines of action within the pose. There are always lines of action through the arms, through the legs, through the torso, and through the head. Try to identify those smaller lines of action throughout the body. If you find yourself trying to get a perfect C curve or a perfect S curve, then remember that you're doing a different exercise. Come back to the gesture and come back to this loose and expressive way of interpreting the pose that you're looking at. The second tip is to use a searching line to figure out distances and proportions of the figure. So what you're doing really is you're using your line to become a bit of a map of how you look. A searching or a continuous line will continue to draw the whole figure without stopping or pausing, without sort of trying to correct itself. You just let your line continue to flow around the pose. And with practice, this becomes a very intuitive way of understanding proportions, scale, distances. Another thing is that you can move things around in your drawing by doing this. You can just redraw over top of what you've done. You don't have to stop and erase anything out. So it allows a much more responsive and expressive way of drawing. Remember that all of these exercises that I mentioned in this video are like drawing drills. They are like the 10,000 hours that you put in order to become better at drawing when you do go on to making much more finished and much more polished work. So this is not about making, a tight design, or it's not about erasing out mistakes or forcing a perfect picture in any way. This is simply about exploring the language of line and the language of mark making. None of the gesture drawings that you make might ever be accurate or correct in terms of anatomy, so just bear that in mind. It's simply not the point of the exercise. Thirdly, don't be afraid to draw around the figure. Always remember what you're looking at, even if it's a photo reference, is a three-dimensional subject. So use your line to go around the forms and to try and describe the density or the mass and solid weight of the figure. Drawing in a 3D sense really means that you're just likely going to use that continuous line or that searching line that I mentioned in the previous exercises, because as you draw, you'll naturally want to imply rounded forms that make up the structure. And in this way, it's just easier to keep your pencil or your pen moving continuously in that motion. The benefit of this exercise is that it gets you away from that trap of simply drawing the figure as an outline, a flat 2D outline. In this way, your drawing deepens and it becomes much more about how you see and express, and far less about, making an idealized or prescriptive end result. None of these exercises are meant to result in perfect, finished, anatomically correct drawings, although I will say that in many cases you'll see for yourself that these drawing techniques will result in stronger and much more dynamic and compelling drawings. And that's really, I think, the unique contradiction of life drawing and something that many students don't fully appreciate. With these techniques, you can make a drawing that is 1,000 times more interesting, more powerful, and is a drawing that is uniquely yours in terms of artistic expression, even if that drawing has little or no accuracy in terms of academic proportions or anatomical realism, or even in terms of stylization. I think that's the beauty of drawing. And so hopefully these exercises or these techniques that you've learned today will help you to uncover a much better and much more improved approach to figure drawing and to life drawing. So if you want to learn more about the reasons behind why drawing loose improves your work, then definitely check out this video next, because in this video I explained exactly what goes on in your mind, how your brain processes work when you're drawing, and how that dramatically affects whether your drawing is successful or not. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll look out for you in the next video.